You can make it through. I know that you probably haven't experienced the rush of college football, but as I explain it a little more, I think you'll start to understand. The thing that actually prompted me to make this video was I saw something that said you can't drink alcohol inside the stadiums of Premier League games, and I just thought to myself, are you serious right now? What's up, guys? How's it going? And today, back with another serious talk. Now, it's been the start of college football here in the US, and just after seeing all the hype, I thought I'd make a video where I see a ton of stuff about the Premier League online, and you know, I follow it somewhat, and I think there's a really fair case to make here that college football sports culture is way more... College football sports culture is bigger than Premier League sports culture. Now, I'm just going to say both have very passionate fan bases, but college football is just more intense, more passionate, more tight-knit, and more involved. The first point for this argument is there's absolutely a stronger sense of community and identity when it comes to the college football, because all the students live nearby, you know, they're in school, they're basically free spirits in a way that can kind of do whatever they want when it comes to the sporting teams. You know, a lot of them don't have jobs like they have to super like worry about a ton. Like, yeah, they have these little jobs, but they're in college, you know, they're not like these professionals, so they can kind of go nuts like when they want to. You know, it's not just fans supporting a team, they're supporting their school, like the thing they're paying to go to, the thing that is their entire identity for at least 4 years. In many of them, it's their state, and it's even in their hometown too, which just makes it even crazier. I just think that, and it's so widespread across the U.S., and I just think that, like in England, it's a smaller country. Like, it's barely bigger than Florida. Florida might even be bigger. Honestly, you're really only supporting the logo. I mean, it's a harsh truth, and you don't. Okay, let me just say, most fans don't have deep ties to that team other than them just living there. And even a lot of the time, I hear people, I say, oh, why are you you know, Liverpool fan? Oh, well, my uncle's great aunt showed me a game when I was a kid, and I just became a fan. It's like, college football isn't like that. Like, you have deep ties to those teams. The tailgating on college football day is so crazy. You know, you just bring together students, alumni, families, friends, and people. It's so personal and generational, and everyone's, you know, just before the game even starts, it's a madhouse. You don't really see that in the Premier League. Their fandom lacks like it lacks like a very like as intimate of a connection as college football. Hold on. It's not as intimate. There's definitely passion, but it's definitely more of like a commercial passion than a personal, if that makes any sense. I want to get into the sort of game day like traditions and atmosphere. I honestly think Saturday in like the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, like before the game and during the game and all the traditions, I honestly don't know if there's a sport that can match it. Every single college football program has a different unique tradition that all the students go nuts for. In Premier League, you may have teams that like, yeah, we do this or we shout this, but it's like the stuff that these college kids are doing, it's nuts. In the Premier League, you know, there's chants and songs, but in college football, you have like the marching band, you have the student section, you have the mascot, you have the massive stadiums. I know the soccer stadiums can hold a lot too, but it's college football, and it just creates a level of insane energy that I just haven't seen in the Premier League as much as I do in college football. The thing that actually prompted me to make this video was I saw something that said you can't drink alcohol inside the stadiums of Premier League games, and I just thought to myself, are you serious right now? I can't get a drink, I can't sit at my seat and have a beer when I watch my team. That just made me lose so much respect for the Premier League like culture. And it's like, oh yeah, we go to the pubs after. Well, I want to be drinking on a beer during the game. So you're telling me I have to pre-game, and when I sit there, I just have to sit there without a beer, and then afterward you go to the pub. It's like, no, I want to have it during the game, and I just lost so much respect for the culture, and I'm like, just the stupidest thing. College students will deck their house out like so insane with like their team, and they'll just totally like rebrand their house. And just think of the streets and streets of this. It's streets and streets of this. No one in the Premier League redoes their house for their team, okay? That doesn't happen. If you take the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, and rivalries is something I'll get into, some of those fans will not wear the Michigan colors or the Ohio State colors any time of the year. Not even just game day. Any time of the year, they will not wear red or white or yellow or navy blue. That's insane. It's just so involved that each school has so many different things they do that it's so nuts. It's hard to explain because you have to experience it. But I really wanted to get into the rivalry aspect of this because I think that rivalries play a huge role in how much more intense it is in college football. Now, I'm not saying there aren't rivalries in the Premier League, but I don't think any sport rivalries can face off against the rivalries in college football. How much people get into it. They're rooted in geography. They're rooted in history. They're like battles for entire state bragging rights, entire state pride, and state regional dominance. Like the Iron Bowl, which is Alabama versus Auburn, which is probably one of the biggest, like top 3 biggest rivalries in college football.
Up top, both John Smith. That's Devontae's player out of there. He gets stuck.
It literally divides like the town, like towns there. It divides families and it divides like workplaces. Like it's not like, oh, haha, you like to see. It sounds cheesy, but you just have to see it. And it's so intense. And I know people in the Premier League, the fans, they get in fights and stuff. But like, and another thing with the rivalries is like in the Premier League, there's like these, like I said, like England is a small area. So there's like these tiny little like regional rivalries. When you take that, multiply it by 10, and then do it across the whole nation of the U.S., the culture and the craziness you get is not something the Premier League can compete with. I'm sorry. You know, yeah, they have chants and supporter culture, but I just think the scale and like the pageantry, if that makes sense, like flavorful, like the college football traditions and rivalries are, it just gives it an edge. And I think something that doesn't happen as much in the Premier League is the generational pass down, because a lot of these parents' kids, they get raised in this culture and then they want to go to that school because of it. And it just keeps going. And in the Premier League, I see so often that kids are rooting for other teams than their parents. And it's like, you can do that, but it makes college football more special when you have your whole family, your whole family line is rooted in this school and this team and all the rich history. You know, the kids are raised, they hear stories about legendary games, calls, wins, losses, and unforgettable moments, and there's just so much emotion involved. I also just think that if you take the sport of college football and the sport of soccer, the structure-wise, in college football, it's going to get, for those 10 to 15, 20-second plays, it's going to get so crazy. Because it's like little short spurts of playing versus a huge long time of playing soccer, and there are plenty of boring ass moments in those soccer games, and there can be very hype moments, but there can be many boring moments. And in college football, it's like every play is so like crazy and like fast paced that the fans just get so into it, and it's easier to keep up with that intensity. And I just feel like a lot of people they're just picking their Premier League teams like based on this random stuff. Like I said earlier, like it's like, oh, like I met this player from this team when I was a kid, so now I'm a fan of that team. Or it's like globalized in a way, so a lot of people are just picking and choosing. And when you are a fan of a team like that, you can definitely be into them, but I don't think you're gonna have that emotion that someone that their whole family went there, they grew up with it. This kind of goes along with what I was saying about the structure. I think in college football, there's high stakes every time. Like, if you want to make a run for it, even in the new playoff bracket, 12 team, it's high stakes every time and every play, because if you lose one game in college football, like you're either out or you're very, very close to being out, and it's like you have to be perfect. And in soccer, there's a lot of mess ups, and there's a lot of these players are getting paid tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're missing shots, they're missing open nets. Lewandowski, it doesn't feel like they have the emotion that some of these college football players have and the care. if you take the structure of college football, you have a small amount of games during the regular season, and then you have the playoff bracket if you make it. And if you don't make it, you still have bowl games and conference championship games. And then you have the national championship in Premier League, and this is something that I hate so much about the Premier League. It's just like, oh, we got first in the league, we won the league. And then so if a team's up by like a shit ton, it's like, okay, well, we all don't have a chance. So now we just have to try and not get one of the last 3 places in the bracket or in the standings so we don't get relegated. Like, it's an all right structure, but you're not going to get the crazy-ass games and the crazy-ass moments like you do in college football with that structure. And it's something that the fans feed into. And the Premier League, you know, if a team's that high up, you're not going to get as rowdy for your team if there's no way they're going to get first, you know? And the Premier League just has a longer, more forgiving season. I mean, it does. You can tie, you know, you can go games without scoring a goal, and it's like, that gets boring after a while. In college football, there's none of that. It's always high stakes, and it's always action, you know? I know there's the introduction of the NIL, and the college players are making money, but I do want to say money and structure does play a role here. In the Premier League, money very highly dictates outcomes, you know, team worth and salaries and stuff. Wealthy clubs like Man City and Liverpool, they just run shit every time, you know? And there's really rare, like, Cinderella stories, and there's rare, like, drama in a way. When in college football, it's, you know, anything can happen. Interception, it turns the whole game around. And, you know, it used to be worse with the 4-team playoff, but now that there's more spots, like, so many more teams have the chance to make it far. And, you know, just because your team has super good players in football, if the other team has more drive, momentum, better coaching, better play calling, they're going to eat your players alive. And we've seen that already in week 1 this season. And I just think that there's way more big games throughout the college football season than the Premier League. And then attendance, I think, plays a huge role too, because going to a college football game costs significantly less than a Premier League game, especially if you're a student or alumni and you get discounts, or you can buy tickets from other students for cheap. So many college students can attend games. It's crazy. And in the Premier League, you have to pay, like, you don't get tickets if you, like, for being a fan. Like, if you go to the college, you get tickets. And I know Premier League games, you know, a shit ton of people go, and they probably sell out a lot too, but there's just so much more opportunity to go to college games than the Premier League, because it's going to be cheaper. If you have if you're an alumni, a student, parent, family, there's all these discounts, and it's going to be cheaper to get in than if you're just a regular fan for a Premier League game. And then the last thing I want to say is these college football fans, they're going to be fans of that team for their whole life, you know. But in those they're only in college for 4 years. So you don't think they're going to be the biggest fucking fan they can be for those 4 years? Wow, that's the only time in their life they're going to be going at the college, and they're going to be, you know, in the whole culture and area. That's just another factor is that how crazy these college fans are. And I just want you to watch, if you're a Premier League side of this argument, sit down on a Saturday morning early, on a big game early, and just watch the pregame. Just watch the pregame. You will be amazed. And it's so crazy. But anyway, guys, let me know if I missed anything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.